we are generally, what I seriously think, one of the very few British politics channels that has talked so much about fish. And really, we haven't talked about fish a lot, but I think we've probably talked about really what the true challenges surrounding the British fishing industry, and of course the troubles and trials and tribulations of actually leaving the EU, and of course what this means. And for those of you, here's just a really brief rundown. So the real challenge facing British fishermen is a number of things, but we'll just hear the big ones. The first thing is that British fishermen come in two types. First of all, you've got what are called the big boat fishermen. So these are the big trawlers. These are the big companies. The next one you have are the small trawlers. These are the people you often see protesting with Nigel Farage, because these are the small family-owned boats that do very small operate these very small boats, and they've been family businesses and operate businesses in that area for centuries. However, when you compare the two, these big trawlers, first of all, do in they do in a day what these small boats can do in a month. So clearly, there's two very big distinctions between them. And what these small fishermen are really fighting against is industrialisation. And they haven't really come to the realisation that is what they're fighting against, but it's exactly what they're fighting against. The next problem comes in the quota allocation system. Now, despite what the Brexiteers claim, this is not doled out by the EU. The EU goes, here you go, UK, here's your fishing quota. What the UK government then does is it puts these quotas up for sale, which are then bought by these big boat multinational companies, hence why you have Dutch, German, and other countries' boats that operate in the UK from these UK ports to go out and catch these fish because it's part of the UK quota. They bought them fair and square. Now, of course, and this is once again where the tiny fishing boats come in, because they don't have the money or at least the political clout to actually buy it. The other thing is that fish in this whole Brexit scenario really has been made somewhat of a political issue, and the biggest problem is the fishermen, the UK fishermen themselves, because they will not admit the true problems of their industry, and they will not be truthful not only with the public, the UK government, but even the EU themselves when it comes down to just telling people how much fish they actually catch. For example, a couple of years ago, they had a situation where the UK quota got really cut down. That was because they lied about how much fish they were catching, and as a result, the EU put their quota down, and it took a UK celebrity chef to actually petition on their behalf to get the quota re-raised. Of course, that was obviously the time when Nigel Farage was sitting on the Fisheries Council and meant to be the voice of the UK fishermen, just to show you how much Farage just isn't a fisherman's friend. And oh boy, that's just the beginning of it. Those are just three things that are really surrounding the fishing industry, and it goes much deeper. And we have an absolutely fantastic corker of an article from the Yorkshire Bylines just to go into how crazy this entire debacle is going to be for UK fishermen. It is going to be absolutely disastrous for them. Remember, predominantly most of their catch goes to the EU. Remember that. Always remember that, because even even UK fishermen just seem to be completely negligent of that fact. But there you go. So anyway, this comes from the Yorkshire Bylines, and its title is UK Fishing, Out of the Frying Pan and Into the Fire. Somebody once said, when Britain left the EU, we didn't fall into a void, but into something far worse. This was in respect of aviation and the thicket of international agreements which precedented the European Commission of Aviation Area, or the ECA. But it also applies equally to fishing and the Common Fisheries Policy. So, leaving the Common Fisheries Policy meant we actually fell into the 1964 London Convention on Fisheries, which which gave 13 other European states the right to fish in British waters between 6 and 12 nautical miles from our coast. So we had to withdraw from that convention, which we did by announcing it in July of 2017 that we intended to do so, and DEFRA Secretary Michael Gove then gave the required 2 years' notice. This indicated a period of consultation with stakeholders, leading to a new fisheries bill, which is about to drop anchor on Tuesday as it reaches the report stage in the House of Commons. So as I'm doing this, that is today. What's going to happen? We don't know, but it's all generally all up in the air. And if you think what I've just said is slightly complicated and convoluted, it's about to get a whole lot more. Oh, also, in this new fisheries bill, it's also important to note out that they've stripped away any mention of sustainability. So, all this really amazing work that we've actually done in maintaining the fisheries, fish stocks and sustainability of that industry is about to go potentially to pot, because if there is no sustainability clause, then British fishing waters are about to become the Wild West of fishing, essentially. And it's going to be an absolute ecological disaster. Anyway, the article continues. However, the Belgian ambassador, William van der Lood, should we say, has put a dogfish among the prawns, so to speak, by raising the question of a treaty dating back to 1666, which was signed by King Charles II, which granted 50 Flemish fishermen from Bruges eternal rights to fish in English waters. This caused a bit of flurry in British newspapers, with the Daily Express, as usual, suggesting that desperate Brussels was using it to try and settle the Brexit fishing row. But Belgian newspapers were reporting this back in 2017. The NWS Flanders News quoted the then Flemish Prime Minister Geert Balgoes, suggesting that a solution to the fishing problem was this 350-year-old treaty. Mr. Bruges even produced a copy of it on television. The treaty was discovered in an archive back in 1963. Apparently, a Bruges alderman then ventured out into British waters to test it out. He deliberately had himself arrested by the British, hoping they would take him to court. However, this didn't happen. Documents from the British archives then later revealed that it advised against taking the Belgian to court because of the fears concerning the 1666 Charter. They were afraid that it would still be in force, and the Brigadiers spokesperson explained afterwards. The spokesperson admitted that the chances of the 1666 Charter would still apply are somewhat small, but added it's not completely impossible that it still grants Bruges fishermen certain rights. It is not clear how Gove intends to withdraw from that one, but no doubt if it gets to that stage, he will give it a really good try. However humorous it might be, British fishermen are unlikely to be laughing at the guidance for UK fish exports to the EU, released in September by the UK government and updated again just last week, and it looks absolutely a formidable foe. After the 1st of January 2021, UK fishermen will need to follow the same Byzantine rules that are currently in place for exports of fish from non-EU countries. The guidance says they will need an export health certificate, expert for direct landings of fresh fish in EU ports from UK flagged fishing vessels, plus a catch certificate that needs to be validated and sent to the importer. They may also need direct landing documents and a storage document if the produce has been stored, and a processing statement if the product has been processed. For the customs and border inspection requirements, they must comply with the HMRC guidance on custom requirements for exporting to the EU. These rules apply to fish caught by UK-flagged fishing vessels, or exports of fish imported from another country that have been stored or processed in the UK, and direct landings in EU ports by a UK-flagged vessel. whereas at the moment, shipments can enter any EU member state at any point. And as of the 1st of January, all consignments of fish and fishing products must go through an EU border control post, or a BCP. If the fish was either caught by a flagged UK vessel or imported into the UK and processed and stored or landed in the UK before being transported to the EU. These BCPs are few and far between, and will mean that some shippers will need to rearrange their delivery routes, which will affect the delivery times and hence the marketability of fresh products. The full list. There we go. The EU importer, which you didn't needlessly need to have before, must notify the BCP well in advance of arrival. The importer must also assume legal responsibility for the products inside the EU, something that they will charge handsomely for. And fishery products entering the EU via Calais or Concours must travel to the BCP at Bruges-Saint-Omer under the Common Transit Convention declaration and be submitted up to 72 hours in advance of arrival. Lorries arriving in Calais or Concours will apparently be directed to the Green Corridor to go onto Bruges-Saint-Omer BCP, where checks will be carried out. The guidance explains how to get an export health certificate. You can go to the website with yet more guidance, especially as you will need a vet or local authority to sign one, and also how to become listed as an EU approved food establishment, which is essential if you want to export fish products from the UK. You get it? So that's just an incredible amount of rules just to follow. And remember, the vast majority of the UK catch goes to the EU. So anyway, it continues. So having done all that, any fishermen who haven't given up in frustration must send the validated catch certificate for each consignment to the EU importer so they can give them to the concerned authority of the member state. This has to be done 72 hours before landing by sea and 4 hours before arriving by air or rail and 2 hours before arriving by road. All of this adds an extra layer of detail to the new post-Brexit operating model, which may be a complete collage by there we go. Which my colleague Jane Thomas described in her article just last week as 100 times more complex and with lashings of new red tape to match. But it's not clear how much of England's fishermen will actually benefit from Brexit in any event. Almost 55% of England's quota under the Common Fisheries Policy is foreign owned, according to the BBC. These quotas were purchased in good faith, and foreign companies who operate vessels flagged in the UK and operating out of UK ports, and they would take legal action if these quotas were arbitrarily removed. On Sunday, France's Minister of the Sea, Annick Girardin, took a tough line and suggested that French fishermen would be better off with a no deal rather than accepting unacceptable proposals by Britain. This is his quote here. "We are preparing for all eventualities and therefore also a no deal. France is preparing to support its fisherers and the entire industry. European tools will have to be put in place for this." And one wonders if Britain's fishermen are beginning to think that they might have jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire. And as you can see, it's, and that's just scratching the bare bones of really the troubles of the UK fishing industry that they are about to face going on from the 1st of January. And of course, as we often say to them, good luck. This is apparently what you voted for. But we told you this would happen. But of course, because you've never been true or even honest about yourself and about the challenges that you're facing in the industry, you only have yourselves to blame on that. And that goes well beyond anything to do with just about Brexit as well. So Anyway, thanks for watching. Please do hit that like and share button. It does help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you are new, do hit that subscribe button. We do talk a lot about British politics and Brexit because the two are, well, quite inseparable. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel in another way, then please do look below to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link where you can support the channel that way should you like. And thank you to all the people that have done and do support the channel like that. So with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time.